Guys, welcome in. We're cutting out drop spindles again. This is... Can't figure what kind of wood this is. Okay. It's early. Hey, hon. What's the wood? What is this? Stuff that looks like rye bread?
It's Jobillo.
Jobillo.
Or tiger wood.
Tiger wood. Yeah, tiger wood. Really good at golf. Very nice. Yeah. Now you can use Z and move everything back for the next one. You could. Good morning, guys. Welcome in. Somebody grabbed my pencil and didn't put it back. And that's somebody? Me. But in my own defense, I was just using it this morning. We had one of our kitchen drawers fall apart, so... decided to fix that first thing. Alright, so I laid out a mortise that we're going to cut out. So basically it's a rectangular hole. Hello. Hey, Peter. How's it going? Welcome in. And they fit together. Now I'm verifying that the holes are centered. I just have a rat-tailed bastard file that I use for that. Peel the pattern off. And there we go. I hope everybody's having a wonderful day. It's 9:30 here in Wisconsin. Got up this morning, made breakfast. I made chipped beef and some scrambled eggs. Did a load of laundry. And that's about it. Hey Frederick, how's it going? Oh, I'm having a wonderful day. Came in this morning and the 3D printers all completed their jobs. Didn't have to fix anything this morning. Granted, I only had 3 printers running, but that's beside the point. What are you doing? I am cutting out Turkish drop spindles that are used to spin yarn with on the scroll saw. 81. How's it going? Welcome in. So this is tiger wood, Jobillo. Just love making lines. Actually, let's just and we'll just cut to the outside ones. Is that like a macro bandsaw? Yep, this is a scroll saw, so it takes a flat blade. Let's see if I got a big blade here I can pull out. So the blades are 5 inches long. And that's what they look like. Now a bandsaw has one big loop blade that goes in one direction, where this is going to go up and down. It's reciprocating. Yeah, so the big difference is you could do internal cuts because you could just take the blade off and set it down. Yeah, these saws, they're for like cutting thinner material, fretwork, that sort of thing. So this is a 5/8 inch thick cherry, which is what, like 17 mil? Off the top of my head, I don't know. Let's see. 16 and a half. So 16.5 mil. So bandsaws cut more efficiently. You can push faster. This, since it's going up and down, it has to pull the dust out. It only cuts on the downstroke. You can get blades that cut on both strokes, but yeah. And you get a really nice finish. Where a bandsaw tends to give you kind of a rougher finish. Ahmet, how's it going? Hello. So we put down blue painter's tape and then we glue the pattern to the top. So when I'm done, I could just remove the paper. I don't have any residual glue to deal with. So basically we're making pattern stickers on the top. We use blue painter's tape because it is not any color wood could possibly be, so it sticks out like a sore thumb. Some people use clear packing tape. Some people use masking tape. Good. Glad everything's fine. Hussein, welcome in. So yeah, the scroll saw is basically a motorized coping saw or fret saw. Vicky's laser engraving. You can hear all the beeping. Right, honey?
What's that?
Your laser engraving?
Yes.
Yes, you are.
The first part is done.
Hey, Gunther, welcome in. What's done? All the purple hearts done? Awesome. So, this is what the spindles look like when we're done. And you use them to spin yarn. This is what came before the spinning wheel. So, there's some yarn that I've spun on one. Oh, thank you. Yeah, these things just take practice. A lot of woodworkers hate scroll saws. It's one of those things where they take practice to use. You can't just set up a guide and run a piece through. They don't work like that. So it's all feel. These are cherry. We'll get these done and then we'll, I got a couple hours worth of work here. And then we can turn the shafts on the lathe. That seems to be the exciting part. People like seeing wood chips flying all over the place. At least I do. Hello. Yeah, in your day, scroll saws was seen but hardly used. Yeah, I mean they're for a specific thing. You know, they're not for rough carpentry. That's for sure. You know, this is not an Excalibur. This is a Pegasus. They come out of the same factory. The heads are different, but pretty close to the same thing. You know, there's a stigma about these that they're, you know, originally they were made for women and children to use to keep your hands busy. I dropped my pencil. I could see it, but can I get to it? That's a big question. You know, these started out as either foot powered or hand powered. They used to have cranks on them, and you crank and cut at the same time. You still use a coping saw? Yeah, that's fine. But if you had to cut out hundreds of these, would you be using a coping saw? We're making drop spindles for spinning yarn. These are cross arm spindles or Turkish type spindles. Alright. So I have some hard maple ones here that I got the outsides cut out. I think I'm going to move the camera back just a little bit so I stop bumping it. Try that. I think that's a little better. I'll zoom way in. I've got some cutouts coming up here where we're going to cut out these cats. Your major projects are grandfather clocks and wall clocks. Oh yeah, I can see that. Yeah, if I was making like a cuckoo clock with all the filigree on the outside, yeah, that's where this scroll saw would shine. You make stuff, mostly toys? Nice. Yeah, I made toys. Made a lot of wooden toys in my life. And an Etsy shop back in like 2008. Making a ton of wooden rolling toys and gnome doors back before gnome doors were really a thing. And a lot of word signs. I did that for quite a while as a hobby. Are you okay? So are you saying you want to 3D print out another piece? Uh-huh. Okay. The girlfriend just tripped over the 4-inch hose on the floor and stepped on like the baffle. That's when you stack cut? Absolutely. Stack cutting is your friend. Yeah, when I used to do like fretwork portraits and stuff, you know, I'd make it out of like 1/8 inch, like 3mm plywood, and I'll cut out 3 or 4 at a time, just because it costs so much, you know, time. It's all labor. You have a DeWalt. It's cool. Just wish I had a smaller saw. More of a cabinet maker, but I do like scrolling. King used to make a 16-inch double parallel arm saw. I don't know if they still do it. They went from getting their saws made at the same place as like the Excalibur, the Seiko, the Pegasus, and now they're going with Chansen, which is making the Delta scroll saw, the Bauer, the Buck tools. Now King is going with them, so. Ooh, dinner. That sounds like a good idea. Have a good meal, man. So I don't know if they're still available or not. But yeah, for what I do, this is a 21 inch. And then my bower over there is a 22. And yeah, I make little things. It's a lot of saw for what I actually use. Hey, thank you. Yeah, the making of Scott, there's a lot of beginner scroll saw videos on there. I do some project cutting on. Most of the designs I make myself. There's a few Steve Good ones in there. He's kind of like the free pattern guru. He's been doing it for a long time. I don't know. There's a bunch of scroll saw people on YouTube, and they basically make the same thing over and over and over again. You know, it's different, but it's the same process. And I would rather build skills. All right, have fun in class. And then just do the same project over and over again. You know, that's just me, though. Hello, 438. Welcome in. Yep, so this is my day job. I just felt like live streaming today. Hopefully you guys keep me working. So my shoulder's a little tight this morning, but damn, getting better, huh? Yeah, so when I said this is a 21-inch scroll saw, that's the throat depth. So from the blade to the back of the saw is 21 inches. So you can cut some relatively larger things on here. They make 30-inch saws as well. So the average small saw is like 16 inches, but there's companies that make smaller ones. Is it Performex? I can't think of what it's called. The German company makes a little tiny one, but it's for, you know, making like cutting balsa wood and making little models. Sorry, I only speak English. Hey, Greg. So this is mahogany. This is genuine mahogany. It smells amazing. It smells like rich mahogany. So if you go to a big box store, I know Menards has quote unquote mahogany, but it's not. It's Luan. It's what they make out of that cheap plywood out of. Oh. Well, that's very nice of you, Vincent. My mother's side of the family is German, primarily. My grandfather used to speak German. He had a lot of books in German, but he never taught. He was American, you know. He was first generation, second generation, I think first. So his main thing was not to teach German to anybody else. We're Americans. All right, this is cherry. Hey, James. All right, let's see here. Number one copy and simultaneous, right? I have no idea. Oh. All right, got one more of these little ones to cut out, and then we'll start getting to the bigger ones. You okay?
I keep knocking the top to the alcohol off.
Well, don't do
It's
that.
broken,
Yeah, it is.
so I keep, when I pick up this, I take it off.
All right, this one might need a little adjusting. We'll see. Yeah, it's a little tight right there. It's always better to start out a little tight. Because you can always take a little more off. You can't really put any more back on. We'll just peel the pattern off. So this is the shape. This is called a glider. And this is the mini. And the mini is about 3¼ inch arms. And the scroll saw is relatively safe. You're not going to cut your finger off with it. You might nick yourself. This saw makes band-aid injuries. And the band-aid I am wearing has nothing to do with the saw. I nicked myself with a knife. Hello. Is it Stannis? Welcome in. Yeah, I'm a big fan of cherry. So once I put a finish on it, it'll deepen up a little bit, and then it'll get a patina over time. Just gonna set these over by the lathe. All right, I got just a couple standards to make, and then we'll get to the cutouts when we're actually going to be cutting out little critters. These are hard maple. May have to make it a little taller. Oh, it's good. Hello, 16. Welcome in. I hope everybody's having a lovely morning, evening, afternoon, night, whatever it is for you. For me in Wisconsin, in the USA, it is 10 o'clock in the morning. I forgot to turn the furnace down when we left yesterday. So when we got to the workshop this morning, it was nice and toasty. Of course, the girlfriend is still wearing a cardigan, but what are you going to do? So with the hard maple, we're going to cut the mortises out first on two, and then we're going to switch the blade out to something a little finer, just so we can get some more detail out of this. Okay, that's good. So right now we have a number 7 blade in, and that's because this is 5/8 inch thick wood. I believe this is a Nikwa blade. They're ultra reverse. So Niqua is also sold in the United States under the name Flying Dutchman. Thank you for the hearts, much appreciated. All right, so this is the number 7 blade. We're gonna come back to this blade. Actually, this is a Pegasus blade, actually. What are you gonna do? All right, we're gonna go to a number 5 blade. This is a nickel blade. So I keep them in these test tubes, and the original tops for the test tubes would fall off, so I designed these caps. These are TPU, so they're squishy. That way, if they fall on the floor, they don't fall all over the place. So the nice thing about the Flying Dutchman blade is they have a kink, which signifies the top of the blade. Once you start getting to the really, really small blades, it's really hard to see the teeth. I mean, they're there, it's just, so it makes it a little bit easier to identify where the top is. Try that. So this is a pretty straightforward cut. There's points that I want to keep. So that point there I want to keep. So we're going to come up to that point, back off, and then come in the middle to cut that out. Now when you cut anything out with a face, you really need to nail that face. It has to be good. I mean, if the blade wanders a little bit, like on the belly, nobody's going to notice. If you mess the face up, everybody's going to notice. So I'm just going to add a little extra meat for the focus between the legs there. So I'm just making a little pencil line. I should fix the pattern, but you know. Hello, welcome in. So let's get cutting. There, now we got that point. Let's see, if I move it in, will it stop focusing on my hand? I don't think there's a way for me to shut the autofocus off. Anyway. So I'm cutting to the inside of the line, but I'm also hitting the line. So I'm not trying to split the line, I'm trying to stay on the inside of the line. Hello. Alright, so this little piece we cut out. Now we're gonna check to see if we were cutting square or not. So if I'm able to put it in on the top and then pull it through the bottom. So we know we're cutting square. So we have the same cat. If we weren't cutting square, if we're cutting kind of at an angle, you know, this cat would be smaller. Hello, 4530. Welcome in. And this is 5/8 inch hard maple. So it's a little on the denser side. So after this we have mahogany and cherry. Which are less dense. So that's why I cut these with the new blade. So if the blade starts getting dull, it'll still do okay on the softer woods. Let's see how. Ooh. I think it looks pretty good. So they also make spiral blades, which basically they take a blade and they twist it after they put the teeth in it, so it'll cut in every direction, which seems like the perfect scenario, but it leaves such a poor finish. And I prefer doing it this way. With the spiral blade, I could just move it left to right, up and down. With this one, it only cuts on the front here, so I'm going to be spinning it around constantly, which isn't a big deal. So we make about, I think, 13 different cutouts, and I just looked, and every single one is a cat today. Everyone's a cat. So my girlfriend actually lays these spindles out, and she drills this one hole, right? And then I cut it out from there. So much at her whim, apparently, we're making cats. What's up with all the cats?
I'm gonna list them so that when we get ready for our sale.
All right. I guess we're...
It's gonna be sheep next.
All right. Sheep are easier to cut out. Apparently we're getting ready for a day after Thanksgiving sale. or cyber whatever. Hello, DJ. Now we got the thinner blade on here, the finer blade, so we're gonna keep cutting the cats. There's 6 more, so we'll cut out the cats and then come back and then cut out that mortise. So we are moving from maple to mahogany. So this is genuine mahogany.
And the sheep will get all of those, will get hot, mahogany, maple, and cherry, and then the rest of them will just do cherry.
Okay. No walnut?
We don't have any walnut.
You need to get some walnut. We need to get some walnut. I guess swapping out mahogany for walnut, I don't think anybody would complain about that.
Yeah, right?
Oh no, stop giving me the expensive wood for the same prices as cheap wood. It is. Yeah, the big thing with scroll sawing is it's a lot of cutting by feel. A lot of eye-hand coordination. Hey, Spirit. How's it going? Welcome in. So, someday I should really fix this pattern. It wouldn't be a big deal. Just have to go in and open it. Move some nodes around. Yeah, normally when I cut, I use a magnifying glass. Make it a little easier on the eyes. I'm gonna come back. I don't like the look of that. Even though I did follow the line, I don't like it. Hey, Regional, how's it going? Reginald, I'm sorry. Jesus. New eyes. Who's this? All right, we got one more mahogany, and then we got 3 cherry. We'll come back and cut out the mortises. Yeah, so cutting efficiently it's a lot like a dance. I can go a little bit faster with this wood than I could the maple because it's less dense. But you want to take control. You want to stay in control. This mahogany smells freaking beautiful. Love it. Some woods don't smell good. Mahogany does. Canary wood's my favorite though. That smells like sweet tarts and buttered popcorn. All right, now we're to cherry. Cherry doesn't have much of a smell. It's sweet. just going to set it in on the top. So we're still cutting square. Now this blade is relatively thin, right? So if you put too much pressure on it, laterally, whatever, sideways, it can start cutting at an angle, and you don't want that. Two more. So if you're just tuning in, we are making drop spindles for spinning yarn. These are Turkish style. These are my cutouts. So they got little animals on the inside. Hello, 2236. Welcome in. We are just playing on the scroll saw this morning. We're probably going to be moving on to the lathe probably in the next hour or so. Maybe before that. Hey, honey.
Yeah.
Sometime today, can you find the receipt for the washing machine
Oh, yes,
so we can register that? Yeah, so we bought one of those washer dryer combo. It's not really a combo. It's a washing machine that also has a dryer built into it. So it's one unit. Um, since there's only 2 of us in the household, it's fine. But it takes a while to dry because they slap the dryer into a washing machine and it has to fit in those dimensions. I kind of like it. Since we're empty nesters, it's kind of nice. We still have a dryer, so if we wanted to, we could use both of them if you're in a hurry. But it's kind of nice to do a load. I turned it on today. It's going to take 3.5 hours. Yeah, but I'm not there, so when I go home, I have it set up where it's going to continue to tumble until we get home tonight. So it's not going to be wrinkly. Oh, it's a beautiful thing. Alright, let's see what we did. Fits. It's good first time. So we're just verifying that the holes are centered. I'll take the pattern off. So I'm pretty excited. Next year, we're hopefully going to be at the Lambstown Festival in California. The furthest west that we've done a show would be Shepherd's Harvest in Lake Elmo. Well, no, I guess Texas is a little further west. We did a show a few years in Dallas, Fort Worth. But yeah, we haven't been out to the West Coast, so that should be interesting. We're going to have a very stripped down booth. We're just going to bring spindles and have one booth and have one table. We're going to fly in and fly out, so our inventory is going to be whatever can fit in the bags. So that show's near Sacramento, right?
Yeah.
It's like 20 minutes out of Sacramento. Yeah. All right, we got one more cherry and then 3 mahogany. Then we'll move everything over to the lathe and start making some wood chips. Hello. Sorry, I'm not really honed in on my Cyrillic, but welcome. Just a hair bigger. It would be fine, but we're gleaming the cube. That's how old I am. I'm gleaming the cube old. It was Christian Slater, right?
Yeah.
That did for skateboarding what Over the Top did for arm wrestling. Oh, what was that Christian Slater movie where he was like in high school and he had the pirate radio station?
I think it was called Water.
Pump up the volume. Dance. Yeah, I think it was Pump Up the Volume. And what else was he in? He was in Heathers. Blank Me Gently with a Chainsaw.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. He was blowing up the school. For a while there, he was almost as famous as Jamie Kennedy.
Heathers was a messed up movie.
What was a messed up movie?
Heathers.
Heathers was a messed up movie. Not a lot of movies feature croquet.
Right? And I didn't realize that, I can't think of the actress's name, but the woman that plays Grams in Charm was also in Heather's with
Shannon Doherty.
Doherty.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't make that connection.
Now that she's gone, I can kind of admit I heard a rumor she's hard to work with. Don't tell anybody, but Shannon Doherty was hard to work with. But, you know, but this comes from the mouth of somebody who dad ran 90210. I mean, there's no nepotism in that, is there? Well, then again, I don't get mad at Kevin Smith for putting his daughter in the movie. Harley? Huh. Yeah. And without the fear of nepotism, we would not have Nicolas Cage. What's that? Johnny Depp's daughter? Huh.
Well, not really.
Hmm. And then there's sometimes you just kind of roll your eyes, you know, all of a sudden, you know. I just want to whip my hair back and forth.
Right?
Willow, tit willow, tit willow. Well, I'd rather listen to that than see Jaden do it. What was his son's name?
His oldest son?
Yeah.
Honestly, well, I'll say a little bit.
Yeah. I'm old. I'm not. Even though I know how to pronounce the word zeitgeist, I just, yeah, I'm not. I'm old. So I had routine surgery, and I'm coming out of anesthesia, only to realize that the nurse that is sitting there, you know, doesn't know who Burt Reynolds is. Made a comment, I'm hairy like Burt Reynolds. I don't know who that is. Who's the Smokey and the Bandit with Sally Fields? Who's Sally Fields? Oh my God, stop it! Gidget! The Flying Nun!
I heard that she was younger than our children.
Yes, she was young. But that's no excuse. Then again, I don't really know who Chapel Roan is, so I guess. I think I peaked in 2008. And now it's so 2000 and late. I didn't have a cell phone until my second child was born. When my daughter, my second child was, when my first wife was pregnant with her, I got a beeper in case she went into labor when I was at work. Yep, and then she went into labor on the day before Christmas.
Was it the day before Christmas or was it Christmas Day?
She was in labor Christmas Day. It was Christmas Day. She went into labor. She didn't have the kid till the 26th. Yeah.
But work didn't want to pay you for being there.
No, my job. I had a bunch of vacation. I had some holiday pay and vacation pay lined up. And because I did not work the day after the holiday because I was in my my new parent leave, which I took a whopping week off. You know, you could take what 3 months off for the guy. I don't even remember. It's at least 30 days. I took a week off. And I get back to work and they give me a call and said, "Hey, yeah, we accidentally paid you for your vacation, so we're going to take that out of your next paycheck." That would have been pretty much my whole paycheck, if not more. So I had to go to my boss and go to HR and put up a big stink, threaten to write the president of the company. And then they told me I could keep my holiday pay as long as it, but if this ever happens again, they wouldn't do that. And so I'm like, so you're telling me when I can have sex with my wife? That's not what we're saying. I'm like, that's exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, but I didn't plan for her to go into labor.
Right? I mean, why did I bother setting everything up for the leave if they were just gonna...
I can't believe that.
You know, and it was always, oh, it's such a family-oriented company. You know, here's your diaper bag and blanket and a whole bunch of stuff. Congratulations. Yeah. Not the proudest moment, I would say, for quad graphics. So.
Yeah, I can't believe, I mean, I'm sorry, but.
I did get out of there before the print industry took a big dump. All right, let's see if I can get this going right. That looks beautiful. Let me turn on the exhaust and we'll make a mess. Here. All right, guys, thanks for sticking with me when I did that. All right, so we are turning hard maple. All right, I can see the chat. If you guys have any questions or comments. So I'm just going to darken a couple lines here on my tool rest. Hello. How's Aaron doing today? Woo. This one is not straight. the Charles Nelson Riley of shafts. Alright, we'll try to see. So we'll try that one again. What do I do? As little as possible. So we are making drop spindles today. So we just got done cutting out these arms, and now we're making the shafts. So I am a fiber tool maker, a spindle maker. And then this channel, I do a lot of introductory to intermediate, beginner scroll saw, lathe work. I also do 3D printer laser engraving. I have a CNC machine, but I'm relatively new to it. I'm still learning the ins and outs of it. So I've been making drop spindles full time for, well, I started in 2013. 12 years. Getting better. I'm going to make this one to a 7-inch. There's a little vibration up top here, not a big deal. And the next one, after this one, I'll walk you through exactly what we're doing. So I like turning hard maple for these shafts just because they are very smooth. They don't have a very big pores on them. Like if I was going to make this out of like oak, the pores are so big that it would never be smooth. You would see a whole bunch of lines in it. And the same with ash, which is why I don't use ash. Ash has a little bit more flexibility to it. Alright, so I'm just going to support the spindle. I'm going to cut it off down here. Let's see if I can do this so you can see it. There we go. The bottom gets sanded out in the next step. This is supposed to be, this is the wrong size shaft, but at least I can show you what it looks like. Alright. So we're starting out with a piece of hard maple. So I get these dowels made for me from a manufacturer in Ohio. And they're made per order, so they're not sitting around. For the longest time, I would start out with square stock. So I would just buy a board and then cut it into like this shape, which is fine, but it makes a lot more sawdust, and it takes a little bit more time to machine. So I do order these oversized so I can bring them down to size to hopefully true them up. So I'm going to start with my roughing gouge. Just start bringing the diameter down. So I'm going to be using this wrench or spanner as a caliper, so if it fits over the wood, I'm on size. Now I have marks that correspond to my story stick here. So I know my taper is going to end here. So the diameter is getting close. So I'm going to switch from my roughing gouge to my spindle gouge. It's not as aggressive, but it leaves a better finish. Then I have another wrench here. Turn the speed down and we'll do a quick sand. So this sanding here is basically just to sand this taper here. That's what's going to register with the spindle. Alright, so I'm going to shut it off and back it off. That one's running better. So I have this little gauge here. I'm going to put it on. So this is a story stick. It's got a bunch of lines on it. So we're going to make an 8-inch app, so we need these lines on the bottom and the lines up here for 8 inches. I made this cutout so I could register it, so butt it up against there, and then just transfer the lines over. So on the bottom, we're going to have a couple beads. So I'm going to use a beading tool. It's just a V shape. Then I'm going to come to the top of my skew. There's the top of the finial, there's the bottom of the finial, and then I'm just going to define the diameter under. Come back with my gouge, my spindle gouge. I'm just going to taper those lines together. Now I have some wire that's on handles. I made a garrote. We're going to burn some lines in. It just kind of makes the beads pop out a little more. So I start with a medium grit and then go to a fine grit. The sandpaper is almost toast. We'll replace that. I'm going to take some wax. So I did everything I could while we were between centers. That just means that I'm clamped in on that side. This side, there's a pin that's rolling around. So I did everything I could while it's still being held in on both sides. I'm going to come up to the top, form my finial. We're going to burnish with some wood chips. Little wax, and it's ready to be cut off. I'm going to use my skew. I know you can't really see what's going on. If I reach way over here, maybe. There we go. There's an 8-inch shaft. So there we go. This one is ready for sanding and finishing. Hello, welcome in. Alright, I'm going to replace the sandpaper. I have to do a lot of supporting because these are so thin. So by supporting when I'm cutting in the beads, it keeps it from shattering. If I would just stick anything, you know, I can bend this wood pretty easily. Alright, back to burnishing with some wood chips. Think of burnishing as a friction finish. Alright, so I got a little discoloration here, so I'm going to put it in the other way. There we go. Alright, so I'm going to back the tailstock off while it's slowing down so I can watch the shaft to see how it's running. So there's just a hair of vibration. Once I form the rest of it, it should be fine. are a quiet bunch today. Just saying. It's not a bad thing. Looks like we petered out there for a second. All right. Let's make a mess, right? Hey Dan, how's it going? Welcome in. Little vibration up there, so we're gonna go to make it into a 6-inch rather than an 8. So it doesn't matter if you do everything right, they're not all gonna turn out. It's just the way life works. Wood's a natural material. There's internal stresses in wood that you can't see. My day's going pretty well. Starting to get a little hungry. think I got about a half hour left here. Yeah, I got up, I did a load of laundry, I made breakfast, I made chipped beef and some scrambled eggs. Originally I was going to work a half day and then start raking up some leaves, but I think I just might wait till tomorrow. Problem is, by the time I get out of work here, you know, it's dark out. I don't want to be blowing leaves around in the dark, even though it's only, you know, 5 o'clock. Looks nice. Yeah, so like 2 weeks ago we had our last festival for the year. Our next show is not going to be till March. So now we can just focus on, you know, the holiday orders going in for Christmas. Well, you're lucky you got the leaves before it rained. Wet leaves suck. Yeah, I've got actually 3 maple trees, 3 silver maples, which is amazing. The emerald ash borer is going to eventually get to them. And then we got 1 birch tree. It sucks, but there's still a lot of leaves on the tree, but I'd rather take care of them this year than next year. Hey, yes, how's it going? Welcome in. Yeah, and my lawn is a hair bit long on purpose. And the squirrels have just done a number on my lawn. Oh my god. Come spring, I should have just trees everywhere. And don't get me wrong, we have a very small yard. But still. And you know you're old when you stop jumping in the pile of these that you rake. And let's face it, I'm getting older. I got a leaf blower, so. We don't make these out of mahogany very often. Those are pretty. Once this gets sanded out, oh god, it's gonna be gorgeous. Alright, hey Tony, how's it going? So we're gonna flip things around. I am going to sharpen real quick. So I use CBN wheels, which is cubic, is it boron nitrate? Very, very hard. Very similar to diamonds. So it's diamond impregnated, well, CBN impregnated. So I'm just putting a little bit of Sharpie just on the cutting edge toe pick. Just to make sure when I'm sharpening, I'm actually sharpening the edge. Oh, you're right. You're right. And I was wrong. I got a silver maple and 2 ash trees. That's why I was all worried about the ash borers. Yeah, I'm in Wisconsin. We got ash trees. Well, we used to have ash trees everywhere. All right, we're gonna go with another 6-inch. Right. And it's a shame because ash is such a pretty wood. I mean, if you stain it, people are going to mistake it for oak, you know? Yeah, at the farmhouse where I grew up, God, we lost 15 ash trees, something like that. Lots of firewood, though. Yeah, and one day we had 3 different woodpeckers at the house. A little bit too late, guys, but they tried. You know, I've yet to do any shows in Ohio. I should. There's a few good fiber shows in Ohio. And it's, you know, a lot closer than... I do 2 shows in North Carolina for some reason. It's a long drive from Wisconsin. I think it's a good time just to take a little break. We'll go for a walk. We'll go check the mail. So, this is my little workshop.
Pretty clear, but your wife chose to ignore it, didn't she?
I think Sophia chose to ignore it.
Are you suggesting that someone
No, that's not what I'm saying.
The fact is, your wife is an unauthorized charger despite being warned not to do that very thing. Isn't that right?
The world is full of warnings.
So,
I am not
yeah, this is our front room. That's a drawer that I fixed this morning. So we have a small retail space. We kind of decided that we'd rather have like a big ass couch, and to have people come over and spin and knit and crochet and hang out. So this little corner needs to be organized yet. This is our packaging area. So.
You will restrict your testimony to questions asked.
No, we can't.
Bull. So yeah, packaging area.
Where's the money at? Right in number 5.
Come through here. Then we have a pantry that's currently locked. Bathroom, pickle rick. You know, everything you really need. Got some 3D printers going. So I'm assuming this is my last year that I'm making dragons. Got a purple blue one. And a green blue one over here. I got some TPU drawing for another project. Got my old printers. So yeah, these are the dragons we're making. Pretty cool. Let's see, a little photography area. One laser engraver back there. We got another laser engraver here and another laser engraver here. So, yeah. This is my girlfriend's drill press. She does the center holes. And then that's my drill press. I have got drill press envy, you know. Oh yeah, the back rooms. So this is there's another room back here that's storage. This is my current wood supply. So we got a bunch up there, and then stuff that's all ready to go. Then we got the planer and drum sander back here as well when I do machine wood. And then, yeah, my back, my dust extractor. So this building and the next building are connected. But yeah, it's all screwed down. There's no easy way to break in here from there. And yeah, this is my view. Got a bandsaw there. And chat disconnected, and it's connected. All right. So give me 1 minute. I'll be right back. All right, looks like we're back. We're connected and everything. So the nice thing about my shop is it's about 5 minutes away from my house. 5 minutes to car, 15 minutes to walk. 12 minutes if you're really huffing it. So this is downtown North Fond du Lac, which consists of 2 bars, me, and a bakery across the street that mainly caters to restaurants, and a public library. That's about it. So there's a bar 3 doors down that way and a bar 2 doors down that way, just to prove that we're in Wisconsin. And they're both afternoon bars, so nothing's open until, I think the bar over there opens at 3 o'clock, and the bar over there opens at 4, 5. But that one serves food, so they got burgers and stuff, which are really good. So once in a while in the wintertime, we'll walk over there and have dinner. Now the funny part is, growing up when I was younger, there was that bar, and then there was 2 more bars across the street. Actually 3, there was one further down the road. So yeah, this building is one of those classic downtown buildings where it's a big long brick building that's attached to the building next to it, which is attached to the building next to that. I wish it was canned salmon. It's paste wax that I let dry a little bit. Yeah, it's coming across a little more peachy than it should be. Yeah, it's just wax. But I like the way you think. Oh, having a tin of salmon there. Maybe some kipper treats over there. That'd be great. Maybe some bagels and cream cheese. Some capers. Yeah, the reason I have it in the tin is to keep the air away from him for the most part. So cheese and crackers would be good. Maybe some hard salami. That'd be good. Oh, there's a meat market. They make their own sausage and stuff. They do deer and all that stuff. But they had a fire like 3 years ago. So they were making like their hot sticks and stuff. But they didn't have the smoker. And they finally got the smoker going. And I just found out that the gas station across the street has their Slim Jims. They're smoked. They're amazing. They're my favorite thing. I would drive 30 miles just to go pick some up, and now I can buy them across the street. So everything's coming up, Scott. I mean, so this is going to be a 7-inch shaft. The ones I make are currently 4 1/4, 6, 7, 8, and then 10. The 10 has a bigger diameter. So even though I'm focusing on 8-inch and 6-inch shafts, I'm going to need a bunch of the 7s as well. So with this one, what happened was I didn't have the length. I could have backed this off and got 8 inches, but it's just easier just to, whatever it is, go with it, you know? Hey, Ann, how's it going? Welcome in. We got about 15 minutes left in the stream. I'm going to go have some lunch. I was supposed to bring some lunch meat. I know we have a salad. I think we got a Caesar salad in there. I got some soup, so maybe I'll just do that. If you guys are just tuning in, we are making Turkish spindle shafts out of hard maple on the lathe. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Yeah, so I've been making these full time for a little over 12 years. You know, it's find something you enjoy doing, find your niche, and then just keep refining. I was making fun of Christian Slater before, but it is gleaming the cube, you know? So yeah, we've been selling on Etsy. I've been on Etsy since about 2008. Not with this store. This one started in 13. So it's pretty staggering the amount of change that's happened with Etsy over the years. Going public wasn't the best for sellers, but now they're concerned about making money for the shareholders and not really about the businesses that are actually running the website. I do sell on Etsy. I also have a Shopify page. Hey, John. Yeah, it's good to be back. You call me at the end of the stream. I got like 10 minutes left. I got to get some lunch. But you know, we've been going for 2 hours. That ain't so bad. I like to eat. I like having a roof over my head. Yeah, we're just coming down from our busy show season. You know, as much as the holidays are busy, you know, the holidays are kind of nice because if I make this tomorrow, I can list it tomorrow, so I can do things. But when you have shows, you need inventory. You need, like, you know, thousands of dollars worth of stuff. So, hey Ken, how's it going? You know, if you're gonna drive, you know, 18 hours to get somewhere, you better have enough money to cover your expenses, you know. Eating isn't the problem, quality and quantity, yeah. You're always, you know, reviewed by the last thing you made, you know. And the big thing, you know, with you know, having a business like this, you know, it's a lot of word of mouth. It's a lot of people reviewing your product, you know. I get a lot of referrals, which is great. So when I started making these, I did some research, and it seemed like they were either very, very expensive or very, very cheap. There really wasn't a middle ground. I mean, with Top Whirls, the really cheap ones, you go to the Hobby Lobby, you buy a toy wheel, you buy a dowel, you glue the wheel to the dowel, you put a hook on the top. And I see a lot of people, they'll paint it with nail polish and charge $20 for it. You know, so they're like quadrupling their money. Or you could spend $100 and get a really nice exotic wood one that's going to be balanced and works. There really wasn't a middle ground, so that's kind of where I stepped in, the position I want to be in. It's getting to the point where I think a lot of people are realizing that I could charge a lot more, but I choose not to. My bills are paid. I'm happy what I'm doing. You know, I think some people might think that this is all I do. It's not. This is just the easiest thing to stream because I can have a static camera right here. Is anybody getting hit with, like, unsolicited loan offers? Where they want to give you, like, $30,000? since, you know, I'm, like I said, as far as the pricing goes, I try to stay in the middle, if not low, you know, and, well, I get a lot of return customers, you know. If somebody wants to buy something this big, well, they decide they want to, you know, make something thinner, so they need a smaller spindle. They'll buy the smaller spindle, and then, yeah. I get, there's customers who buy my spindles and then give them away to people. So there's one lady, she'll order, you know, a half dozen at a crack 2-3 times a year. Why don't we do the salad? And if we're still hungry, we can run home and grab the lunch meat, or we could go home and make grilled cheese. Yeah, I mean, my laundry should be done, so I can fold the laundry really quick and come back. The salad's here, isn't it?
Yeah.
You want to eat at home? Okay, that'll work. Yeah, let's do that. Let's just run home and grab that. All right, guys. I guess we're going to call it a stream. I guess I'm going to run home and grab some lunch meat for lunch. And then bring it back to the shop because we got a big TV and a coach. So thank you guys for hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. I'll be back probably on Monday. I might come back today yet, but it'll be later. So if you guys want to catch the next stream, make sure that you give me a follow and click the bell so you get notified. Eventually, I will nail down a streaming schedule, but for now, it's just kind of whenever we're going to go. So, all right, guys, thank you so much, and we'll catch you next time. And remember to spin fast so you can die warm. Have a good one.